Guys, my name is Michael and welcome to a new GTK tutorial. Today we are going to move on with our signals and we are going to learn a new function. In the last video we saw how GTK Connect Closure works, and we saw that with the help of this function basically we can connect a closure which we have with the clicked signal, for example, or better said, let me go back to the reference manual says connects a closure to a signal for a particular object. And once that we did that connection between this closure, this signal and this object, like in this case the button, basically once that you click the button, the message gets printed which you created. You click the button, and when you close the button the data gets free. And something similar like this you can create, or you saw you can just pass GTK main quit here and here the window with let's say null, because you don't need to free something, and then it is the same thing. When you click the button the program get closed. Now the next thing, which like I said we are going to learn today, it is called let me comment this one, it is called GTK Connect Closure by ID. And now you will see the importance of the ID which has every signal. I repeat, like in the other videos, there are two kinds of IDs when you talk with the signals. There are IDs which you get them when you call functions like GTK Connect, and there are signals ID. There are IDs which are unique for every signal, like in the case where we said, for example, the delete event signal has an ID which is 66. Now, because we know that, you saw already that with the help of the signal lookup we basically get that ID. So this is what we are going to do. That now we are going to work with that function together with this one. So how it will work, you will see in a moment. So GTK Connect Closure by ID, this is the function which I'm going to introduce you today. So I'm going to call it. It says connects a closure to a GTK for a particular object. Basically it is the same thing like here. Returns a GU long as the other one, but we do have two different parameters, one more and one different from the other one. In the other one we do had here the signal ID, the signal name, sorry, the detailer name, and here we have the ID. So just imagine if you have a function where you pass the ID and not the object signal, and you need to create a connection, a closure by a connection. Then if you have this ID, this is the way how you do it. Let me show you. So I'm going to call this function right here, and it says the instance to connect to, so in this case will be still the button, and then the signal ID. Well, we need to get that ID, so I'm going to say right here GUINT ID, and of course because we have the ID we need to point it to the let me go back, glookup function. Where is it? Right here. So basically we need this function. If you remember, we need to pass the name. In this case the name, it will be the clickhead, and of course the type, which is GTK type, and of course button, because we have a button. So this is the type which we need to pass. Now because we have that ID, we are going to pass it as the second argument or second parameter of the GTK Connect Closure by ID. The next one will be the gquar detail. We have no detail, so I'm going to pass 0 at this point. And the gcloser, the next let me go back again to the gcloser by ID right here. And the next one after detail, it is the closer to connect to. So we do have a closer from the last video. If you don't understand too much, just go back to the other video. And now the last one, it is the after, which will be also false because we are not using this one. So different between GTK Connect Closure and GTK Connect Closure by ID, as you can see, we do have a button which is the same. Instead of the clicked signal which we pass it as a string, we basically pass its ID, which we get it with the help of the GTK lookup function. And of course the detail, it is 0 because we are not passing any detail. The closure which we did create it right here, and of course after, which is false. And I'm going to say here gprint the signal, now let's say the button signal ID is %u, and now we are going to print the ID, which is very important. Okay, let me see if everything's fine, looks good. Let me compile it and run it. And now you see the signal ID of the, better say, sorry, that's wrong. The button, let's say clicked signal ID, or whatever it is, the button clicked signal ID, it is 199. Now I click the button, and when I close it, data gets free, which means works fine, even if it's not the right way how you create this closure together, but it's another story right now. Important is that you understand these two functions. And now, because we saw that the ID of the button is 199, if I pass here the 199, and of course I'm going to remove this gprint. Now, because I know that the button has a 199 ID, it will work in the same manner, you see, and the data gets free, you see. But never do something like this, because you never know in another GTK release, if something goes wrong and they decide to make some changes, then you will have a big problem. But if you work with gsignal lookup and you pass the name of the signal and you get the ID, then work with that ID which you got it, and once that you have it with the gsignal connect closure by ID, for example, in this video, you are fine and the data gets free. That being said, thank you guys for watching. If you like it, please subscribe, share with your friends and neighbors, and until next time, see you guys.